One has a built-in stripper. So you can see there's a hole. If you pull down, there's like a razor blade that comes up here. All right, so you can actually slide through here, and I can take and pinch down on it. Once I get it down to a certain point, stop. You can turn it, and it's supposed to cut. That's one way to do it. You also got cutters, so you can apply a little pressure and spin. You don't want to go too deep, so you can see it pulls apart. You just score the outside edge, because if you go too deep in here, it'll nick these wires. And so I can actually take and pull them back and kind of look to see if there's any copper right there. This is your twisted pair without shielding. This is what you're going to get. And so you can see that there's your different pairs. If you look at it real closely, there's different twists. So you can see this one's got less twist than this. See how the brown and the orange has less twist, and there's more twist in the blue and the green. The blue has the most. So when you're wiring these things up as a, there's also scissors that you guys can use. Be careful with these. These things are sharp. When you get into these things, they're designed to cut wire, so they can do a real good job on hands. You end up with scars. If you nick yourself, stitches. So when we're wiring these things up for the standards, I always take and I'll pull the wires and I'll line them up just like that. So you can see I got orange, green, blue, brown, because I'm gonna do the B standard. And then so from here, I'll start untwisting these things. So you want this to kind of flow like this, and you'll straighten them. So I hold them with my thumb, my finger down here as I undo them. So I want to undo them to where the cut is. Right? And so we know it's white, orange, orange, then white, green, and then the blues have to get in the middle. So you can see I move them over. As you're turning them. I want the blue and the white blue together. So you take your finger and you just pull it. I put a little pressure and I pull it like this, and it starts straightening these curls. So if we hold it up, we should see white, orange, orange, white, green, blue, green, white, brown, brown, just like the B standard inside of the board. Now, I know that from the bottom of my thumb to the top of where my fingernail is a good amount of cable to leave to fit into the connector. And I want to make it I don't want to cut it at an angle. I want to make it as straight as possible, because I want every one of these wires to make it all the way to the end of the RJ45 connector, right? So you want to make sure that you're cutting straight across with the scissors. Now I would do this over a trash can normally. I'm gonna do it over here so I can sweep it off the table. Otherwise you have wires all over the place, right? And so now they're all together, and you can see I have about that much. I'm holding it by the top so they don't fall apart. And for the most part, they're pretty smooth across the top. You can see I got a little jagged there. So you might want to take and like clean it up a little bit. See how you want to get it straight. And the reason being is because when I slide this on, I hold it down here towards the bottom. So as I'm sliding this jack on, I can keep all those wires together to get them to the point. There's some holes up here, and I want those wires to hit those holes and slide up in there.
You can see them.
You see them falling in?
At the end. You see
Okay.
them.
And then so when I look, you can see that the wire gets to the end on that side, and it should get to the end on this side. It's hard to see, but the wire goes all the way to the tip. You can also look down here. If you see copper in these holes, the very tip of this plastic is getting to the end, and you can see that my connection goes way up in there. And then so if all those things are in order, white, orange, orange, white, green, white, blue, green, looks right, you slide them in this crimper. I pushed it in while I'm holding it, Don't push real hard, because if you do, it'll bend and you'll hurt your finger, or you'll pull the thing out and have to start over. So you just squeeze it till it stops, and then you let it go, and now we're done. So what we did was we pushed this all the way to the end, and all these copper teeth smushed down. Anyone that's undone? Keystone. No, the RJ45, sorry. My bad. I gave you the wrong term. So the teeth are still exposed. They're up above the plastic, and down here they're below the plastic. It's hard to see. You can see it crimped versus uncrimped. And you can see that you want your cable to go past that tab. And if you're looking at the tips, you can see, if we had good light, you could actually take and do like this, and you can see that you got 8 wires going across, right? So we have a AB standard. It's got them color coded. So if I'm doing A, white orange is here, white green's here. Sometimes I'll have the number. So I know that if this is A and that's white orange, that's pin 3 on this side. Okay, so the white green, this is pin 3 right here. Green and orange are in on a B. Green is in pin 6. So that's pin 6. So this is 3 and 6. We know 7 and 8's brown always. So those are 7 and 8. On this side, we know white blue is always in 4 and 5. So this is 4 and 5. And then this is the A or B standard. So we know that this is 1 and 2.
That's a question I have. I've seen some network technicians bring put them to the middle and then bring their wires back forward and back toward the replacement.
I don't do it to the middle. I do it to the very outer edge.
Okay.
So what you're going to do here is, once you have this in there, you take and break this stuff out. So I want this to be B. So this is going to be the greens and browns on that side. And then I got oranges and blues. So I'm lining it up based on, I want to use B. And so I can see down there that there's green and brown. And on this side, I've got blue and orange. Okay. So I'm doing the green and brown, right? Yes.
Green and brown and blue and orange.
So I'm gonna bring it up into here like this. So as you can see, it's a very edge. I get the sheath to there. Look at this one. So it looks like that. So I got white, green. So I'm gonna take this right here. I'm gonna pull it over the top. Just like that. And then I'm gonna do the same thing with the brown. Careful not to mix your oranges and your browns. No problems. So you loop them over like that, and then I got blue on this end and orange on this end. This wire is not as good as that other wire that we were using in the first video. It's like loose. It's not as stiff, which means it's probably thinner. I'm looking at this. It's orange here, and then a white orange. All right, so when you get them looped over like that, then you're going to take your punch down. And so this tip has got to be to the outside edge, because if I do the tip this way, wherever that pointed tip, so this part right here, that's what cuts. And so if I did it to the inside, it'd be cutting the wire on this side here, and it's not making contact with the copper on the inside of there. There's a tooth, and so I want it to go this direction. And you can see when you take and you push it straight up and down, it's going to push the wire down and it's going to cut. And I'm going to get my hand out of the way. You want to see that wire pop off of there. And you can take and fold it like that. So your end result is something like that. And there's a little plastic cover that clicks on the top so it keeps the wire from popping out on you. But what you've done is you've pushed it down into that groove and it's making contact with a metal piece on the inside. And each one of those things lines up with the pins on the inside so that when we put our RJ45 connection inside of there, it communicates across this wire all the way back to the patch panel.
Awesome. Final loop for everybody. Cool.
Okay, so this you guys can actually do, and all this wire would come back up the outside edge, and I might have two sets. I may come down this side as well and go back across. So again, this on the front you have a 1 translates to this right here. 2 is down below, so these 8 teeth are right there. You can see there's a line in between each one. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You see where somebody didn't follow the rules, they broke this, they got a bad angle. So this one I would never use. You got 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, all the way up to 24. Falls back to 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, all the way down to 48. And if we look at the front, we have 48 ports. Okay. There is a diagram with the color codes, but I also have the pins. So I put the wires in the same pattern as the pins. So I got 8, 7. So 8's the browns, the 6 and 3 and 6 would be next, and that's your greens. 2 and 1 would be next, that's your oranges, and then finally we have the 4 and 5. So I'm gonna get it up here kind of close to the connection like this. And hopefully this thing's not tore up. I'm gonna actually use this middle one because I know it's in good shape. So I'm about that far out, and I'll take and I'll untwist these. And then so I want this to be 8, so that's the brown, and then 7's next to it, which is the white brown. So it looks something like that. And the next one is the 6 and 3. So the white green would be 3. So then there goes green, then white green. So we undo those. And you can see I started where that groove was in the first wire and the next one. And so I'm just following along these holes, and then I have 2 and 1. So it's gonna go orange and then white orange. So this one actually follows a pattern. And then we got 4 and 5, which is blue and then white blue. And there's more twists in the blue, so takes longer to get to the end. And I just found it makes it a little easier when I do more, pull a little bit more off. Makes it easier to hold and pull it down in between these teeth. So I'm pushing on this side, but I'm not using my fingernail. On this side, I'm actually pulling down because I don't care if I mess it up on this side, because this is where we're gonna cut it. Again, you wanna make sure that that tip is facing the outside edge. Now remember, this thing would be screwed into a rack. So it'd be a lot easier to deal with. You'd be standing up. Most of the time our racks aren't on the ground. So you get it in between the someone turn my cable. Turn my sensitivity down. Get a punch down. So these things they're done. I'm wiggling them side to side. You don't wiggle them up because I don't want to pull it back out. So you go side to side and it'll come off. And the reason we did it that way is because we don't want this wire running back up along this and all of them poking out. We want them to run along the cable management like this, and we can there's zip tie holders right here. You can run a zip tie through and strap them all down.
Did you mention about going in the middle?
Yeah, I did. I'm sorry. So you can see I put that, it was in the middle when I started it,
Yeah.
so that when it flows over, and you can see it kind of stays together, all of it comes out of this side. If I'd have put the tip the wrong direction, this away, and I'd have cut, then we would have never made contact. You wouldn't see your wires poking out on this side. So that's what it should look like when you're done.
And you said the tip which way? Show me one more time, because I've been looking through the camera.
So this is the tip right here. See, it's got the point.
Uh-huh.
So whichever way you want to cut, you want the point to be on the outside. And so I actually do, when I get it inside the groove, I put a little angle. You can't really tell, but I'm pushing it to where the tip is pointing towards this plastic a little bit, and then pushing down.
Okay, yeah, I see.
Okay?
Gotcha.
Because if I did it the other way,